So hello everyone. Once again, this session is about migrating SQL workloads to Azure. So we are assuming that you have some existing on-premise SQL Server, and you want to bring it to cloud. So whether it could be Azure SQL Database or it could be Azure SQL Managed Instance, based on your requirement. So we will see later how you can find out the compatible deployment model for your existing workload. Okay, so let's begin with the slide. So in this particular session, we are going to cover these topics. So first one is introduction, where I am going to take you through the architecture of the entire migration, that it like what all steps it goes through. So first step is pre-migration, which consists of discovery and assessment. Second step is migration, which consists of schema migration, data migration, and then cutover. And after that, you go to post migration. Then next section, I am going to talk about the tools, and mainly in this session, I'm going to talk about DMA tool, which is Microsoft Data Migration Assistant tool, and then Azure Database Migration Services. So we'll talk about these things in detail, and then we will jump to the demo part. Okay, so let's begin with introduction. So this is the main architecture for any database migration when you try to bring your existing workload to Azure. And this is very important to understand each and every step of this process. So in this, if you see, first one is pre-migration. In pre-migration, again, you have three different parts. One is discovery, then assessment, and then convert. Discovery means you have to actually find out the inventory of your databases, that which all databases are there, which all dependent databases are there in your applications, which are critical databases, which are least critical databases. So you have to group the databases based on your requirement, and then you have to segregate all the databases accordingly. So basically, you are going to prepare a list of databases that you are going to migrate. Second one is assess. Okay, so you are going to assess your existing workload to bring it to Azure, whether your existing workload is compatible with your Azure deployment model or not. Now, as I said, there are two possible options if you are trying to bring your on-premise SQL workload to Azure. One is Azure SQL Database, and another one is Azure SQL Managed Instance. So this assessment will help you in understanding that which will be a better option for your particular workload, right? And we'll talk about those things, that how you can perform the assessment on that. Then there is convert. So convert is like the source schema to work in the target environment, right? There will be certain situations when some features or some code will not be compatible with your target environment, right? So in those cases, you will have to go and make changes manually before performing the migration part. Okay, so that is one optional step. It's not required for each and every migration step. Only when you feel that there are some codes which are not available, which are not compatible with Azure, then only you have to do that. Sorry. Okay. Next step is migration. Once you have your pre-migration steps done, next you move to migration step. In migration, first you are going to move your schema, data, and objects. Right. For that, again, we will talk about two tools that I just mentioned earlier. One is Database Migration Assistant tool and Database Migration Services. So using those tools, you can migrate your schema, data, and other objects. Then you will do data sync, right? So once you have migrated your database, your target database should be in sync with the source database. If it is not in sync and you go for cutover, cutover means you are going to stop your application accessing your existing workload, suppose right now, and your target database is not in sync with source, then you will lose the data. So even after migration, you need to understand that your data needs to be sync with target. That while migration, whatever new data has come or whatever changes have come, right, those need to be sync with target. Now, third one is cutover. Once you are 100% sure that your sync operation is completed, means your target is in complete sync with source, you go for cutover. Okay. Now, earlier what used to happen, all the DBAs will be knowing that you need to do this cutover manually. That when you see, when you are 100% sure that your target is in sync with source, you will define a downtime and then you will go for cutover. So similar kind of thing will be performed here also, but with minimal downtime. We'll talk about those things. And once you are done with your migration, it's not over yet. You have to do post migration. Post migration is you have to optimize, you have to run your test cases, and you have to find out whether your application, existing applications are working perfectly fine with the target database or not. If not, then you have to go for back and forth process, right? You have to remediate applications, you have to optimize the code. Sometimes it's possible that you migrated your code and your new database is started performing slower, right? And then you will feel that I moved to Azure, then why I am getting less performance, why I'm not getting a better performance, right? So those things you have to find out, and then you have to optimize your database or your code accordingly. So that is post migration. So now we are going to talk about all these steps one by one. Okay. So in pre-migration step, as I already mentioned, that you are going to get your inventory and then application database dependencies and what databases move together. Now this is important because if your some databases are critical and you don't move those things first, right? Maybe there are some databases which are dependent on the first database and you don't move in correct chronology, then it might create a problem for you. So that's why first discovery is important. Then assessment. When you perform assessment, again, there are multiple things that you have to take care of while performing assessment. And I'll show you using DMA tool, which is Data Migration Assistant tool. Yeah, first thing you need to find out blockers, migration blockers. So when you will perform assessment, you will find out there are certain blockers, there are certain breaking changes or features to leverage or other stuffs, right? But if there are migration blockers, it means you cannot move further. You have to stop it. It means the target database that you are selecting for your existing workload will not support. Okay, so you have to stop it there. So you have, this is very important that you should not have any migration blockers. Breaking changes means there will be some code or compatibility issues which is not supported in your target database. So you have to make those changes, right? Maybe if you are suppose trying to migrate something from SQL 2000 to Azure SQL database, there will be some codes which will not be supported. So you'll have to go and make changes in your stored procedures or functions or whatever. So those are breaking changes, but it's not that you cannot move with those changes, right? It will not block you. You just make those changes and you are good to go ahead with. Then features to leverage. There will be some features which you can leverage while moving to cloud. And when you will use the tool, this will tell you exactly what all features you can leverage and what all you can't. Now, effort involved to fix issues. So this also you need to keep in mind if you are encountering some issues, that how much effort it is going to take and how much time it is going to take. Okay, so all these things will come under your assessment phase, and this entire thing will come under pre-migration. Let's move to migration phase. Now, in migration phase, it's very important to understand that which tool you are going to use, and it will depend on your situation, on your circumstance, on your workload. So one example, this diagram will show you exactly like what you need to perform. So if you want to perform with zero database downtime, then the best option is transaction replication. And I believe all the DBAs will be aware of transaction replication, which is available, which is a feature on-premise SQL Server. Let me just show you quickly before jumping further. So this is my SQL Server. I have created this VM for demo purpose, and this is on-premise SQL Server. So this SQL Server is installed on the virtual machine, and here you have replication. When you expand this, you will have local publication subscription. So here actually you can create your transactional replication. So I'm not going to cover this in detail right now, but I will post another video related to transactional replication separately. So, but I will tell you like what it does exactly. So this transactional replication, in transactional replication, you will create publisher. So your source database will become publisher, and your target database, which could be Azure SQL database or Azure managed instance, will become your target, right? Which will become a subscriber. So your source is publisher and target is subscriber. So in Azure, in SQL Server, you will define publisher and subscriber, and based on your publisher and subscriber, this replication will start taking place. And when you will perform this operation, you will get an option to choose what kind of replication, and one option will be transactional replication. You will choose that option, and after you complete that process, all the source changes will be replicated to your target. So that is a very fast process. uh, Now another option is, if you want to go with low cost or low availability, so in that case you can go with backpack export. You can export your backpack file maybe to a blob container or to your local file and in a shared folder, and then using that you can restore it in your Azure managed instance or DB. So that is also one option. And third one is Azure Data Migration Services. Now this one is talking about offline mode, and I will again talk about, there are two options here. One is online mode and offline mode. I'll talk about both the things. So using Azure Data Migration Services, you can achieve this operation with low cost and with zero downtime, zero database downtime, almost zero database downtime. Okay. Once you have completed a migration part, next is post migration. And this is also very important to understand, as I said, that you have to do test your databases for issues, repeat issue fixes until the database is fixed. So, and you remember this, that you are performing all these operations after migration. Okay. Rewrite third-party applications for the cloud as needed. So if you have any third-party application, you may need to rewrite it as per the cloud need, right? Again, after doing that, test your third-party applications. Take old databases and application offline. So once your migration is complete, everything is done, then you can take your old database offline. You don't need that anymore. And once your database is ready, your target database is ready, you can go ahead with disaster recovery and maintenance plans. Okay, and because your target is going to be Azure, so it will be easy for you to perform disaster recovery and maintenance plans. Now, next we are going to talk about migration tools and services. So we are having two tools here that we are going to use for this demo. One is Data Migration Assistant tool. So as per the definition, the Data Migration Assistant helps you upgrade to modern data platform by detecting compatibility issues that can impact database functionality in your new version of SQL Server or Azure SQL database. Right. So same thing as I told you, that it will tell you exactly about the compatibility issues, and if there are any compatibility issues, it's not that it will just stop you from migrating, but you have to make the changes and go further. DMA recommends performance and reliability improvements for your target environment, allows you to move your schema, data, and uncontained objects from your source server to your target server. So basically, DMA will help you in migrating your schema also and data also, but it's not recommended to go with DMA if your database size is very huge, but definitely you can use this for migrating schema. Okay, and this is how it looks like, and I will show you this particular thing. And then next we are coming to Azure Database Migration Services. So this is one Azure service. So you can use this service in two particular service modes. One is Azure and one is hybrid. So hybrid one is in preview mode, but let me tell you what is hybrid actually. So what happens sometimes when you are working with any customer and you want to perform some POC on their environment. And for performing the POC, first of all, you need to have your either express route setup or VPN setup. But sometimes the customers are not very much comfortable in giving you access only for a POC purpose to set up a VPN or set up express route just for a POC purpose. So in that particular case, they have come up with one hybrid solution, in which case that you will install these database migration services on their on the client machine, and you don't need to have any kind of express route or VPN. So that way it becomes easy for you to perform a POC on any client machine. Still, even though you will be installing this service on client's machine, uh, there will be one bit of service on Azure which you will perform, but that will be very light service. But Azure service mode, that the first option, is completely like you need to have a VPN setup or express route setup uh, for on the client's machine to perform this operation. Okay, so this is about these two tools. And next one is demo, right? So now a little bit of theory, and let's jump to the theory demo part. And you can see this link. I'm showing this link because this link contains a template which directly allows you, or which directly enables you to download or to deploy all the necessary resources on Azure environment or on Azure platform to perform this demo. If you don't want to use this template, you can deploy these resources one by one individually also, but this makes your life easier, so you don't have to take too much of stress about the networking and all other stuff. So that's why I prefer to use this particular template. So let's go to this particular template. So this is the link that I have mentioned, and this one is actually migrate to Azure SQL database using Azure DMS. So if you click on this, deploy to Azure. Let me click on this. Okay, on this machine, this one doesn't work. Let me come out of this VM. Okay, I'm going to click on this, deploy in Azure. Okay, so it will open this deployment template for you, and you can fill in all the details here. Resource group name. So in my case, I'm using this resource group. You can provide other details like source, Windows, admin, username. Remember this is a name that you are going to provide to create a new VM on Azure. Okay, so it can be anything as per your wish. Then you are going to provide the password, and then you are going to use authentication password for SQL, and then again you will provide SQL DB administrator login and password. Other things you can leave as it is. And once you provide all these details and you agree to these terms and conditions, and then click on purchase. Once you click on this, everything will be deployed automatically on Azure. And let me show you what all resources it will deploy. So I had used this, I had created this particular resource group for this demo purpose, and all these resources that you see here are created by this template. Now you don't need to be worried about all these resources because you can see there are a lot of resources, but let me walk you through each and every resource what it has created. So first thing, it will create your virtual network. So let's go to this. This is the virtual network. Okay, this will be required for you to access your on-premise machine. So basically it will try to set up a connection between your Azure environment and your on-premise environment, right? When you create this virtual network, it will create some IP, public IP address. It will create one network security group, and then it will create a network interface. One network interface will be created for the VM, and one network interface will be created for your this one for Azure portal. So let's see. Okay, so you can see this one. This source NIC1 is attached to this. This is nothing but my VM, which has been created by this deployment. And let's go to this. And you can see this one is again, this one is attached to another resource, another network actually, which is where it went. Oh, sorry, I have deleted that one. That one was not required, so I have deleted that. So don't worry about that one. Okay, so you have virtual network, you have network security group, you have IP, and then you have network interface. So even though you are not a network guy, you are not very much comfortable with that, don't worry about that. This template will take care of it. Now next it is going to create this virtual machine. Okay, so this name you have not provided. It is this name is directly coming from the template. So what you can do, you can actually go on edit template or edit parameter, and you can change the names if you want. Okay, 1 second, let me discard it. Okay, this is the template. So if you want to change anything underneath, you can go ahead and change it. It's not like hard and fast rule that the names will be like this, or whatever parameters this template is selecting, you have to go with that only. If you know how to work with ARM templates, this is ARM template, actually Azure Resource Manager template. If you know how to use it, you can go ahead and make the changes. But if you don't know, then just provide the details that it is asking for and go further with that. Okay, so you have the VM created. Inside this VM, it will create even SQL Server. Now, let me show you this VM. So this is my VM. So if you see the computer name, okay. So you see this computer name. It is same as this one. Next, it will create a storage account for logging purpose and all, and then it is going to create a target server and database. So it has created this target server and this target database. I created another database here for another demo purpose. That also I will show you like why I have created this. Next one is disks. So for this particular VM, it has created 2 disks. So if you go to this VM, so you can see there are 2 disks. One is temporary, one is this one, and one is C drive, right? So let's go to this. And then it has created database migration services, and inside that it has created project. So you have everything created here, but still I am not going to create other things, but I am going to create a database migration services for you. Okay, so let's begin with this. So first one is database migration services. So you can click on this. And here you see what I spoke about. Service mode, one is Azure, one is hybrid. And hybrid is again like if you want to run this on-premise and the customer is not ready to give you set up Express Router VPN, then you can go with hybrid mode. But for this session, we are going to cover Azure mode. You have to just provide resource group name, instance details, means migration service name, and you will provide the location. And in networking, you will give the same network that you have created for this particular demo, or in your case, if you are working with any customer, you have to provide the same network that your customer is in, like your client's environment is set up in. Okay, so like for this example, this will be the one. Okay, so you can go ahead with that. You provide the name, and your database migration services will be up and running. So this is as easy as that. So you don't have to do anything, just provide the details and you are good. Okay, and once you have this database migration services created, you need to create new migration project. And 1 second, one more thing I wanted to show you. Let me go back again. Okay, not here. So let's go to this database migration. So this is already created for me, so I didn't create a new one. If you click on this new migration project, you can choose here offline data migration or online data migration. Okay, so basically once you created the services, then you have to create the project. Okay, and for creating that project, you just have to provide a project name, source server type, and target server type. So in this case, it is SQL Server is my source, and Azure SQL Database is my target. And then you are going to choose type of activity. So in this, you will see multiple options. You have schema only migration. So if you want to only migrate schema, you can go with this. If you want to do offline data migration, you can choose this online data migration and create project only. Now, let me explain what is the difference between offline data migration and online data migration. So if you are choosing offline data migration, then the moment you start your migration process, your source database will go offline, means you will not be able to use it. Okay, so downtime is going to be more. So whatever time it takes to migrate the project, your application will be down. Okay, so in offline data migration process, downtime is more. If you select online data migration, In this, downtime only starts when you click on cutover. So it will keep on updating or keep on syncing your target database as per your source, but it will not take your existing server or existing application down. So if you want to go with minimal downtime, then you have to go with online data migration. And on UI front, there is not much difference. It is almost same, but the only major difference is this, that how much downtime you want. Only thing, if you are going with online data migration, it is going to be costly. Okay, so this is the one. Now I already have this project created here, so I am not going to create a new one. But now let's come back from step-by-step process. Okay, 1 second. I think I have deleted this, so I'll create a new one, no problem. But let's begin from the first step. Now, if you remember, first step I spoke about discovery and assessment. And for that, we need to have a DMA tool, which is Data Migration Assistant tool, which is this one. Go inside this. So this is my Data Migration Assistant tool. And how did I get it? I will take you to that step. So you can go to any search engine and just search for Data Migration Assistant tool download. Okay. And sorry, just add here Microsoft. Okay, so here you see download Microsoft Data Migration Assistant tool. You can click on this and it is free, so you can just download it from here and you can install on your machine. So once you install this, then you have to go on this. So let me show you this thing. Okay, so once you are done with that, I can go ahead and delete this existing one. And then you can go and click on this project type. You want assessment or migration. So first let's go with just assessment part, and I'll give a name test. Assessment type is database engine. Then your source server type is SQL Server, although you have two options here, SQL Server and AWS RDS for SQL Server. So right now I'm going with SQL Server. And your target server type, you can see, so this particular tool will tell you what all compatible options do you have. So one option is Azure SQL Database. You have Azure SQL Database Managed Instance, SQL Server on Azure Virtual Machines, and maybe another SQL Server, which is not on, which is another on-premise on-premise SQL Server. So basically, it is telling you that your SQL Server might be compatible with any of these options. But to test that, you need to create this project. So I click on Create, and then it will ask you what all things you want to check. You want to check database compatibility or feature parity. So in that case, I'll select, you can select either of them or you can select both. I'll go with both. And you need to understand what is the difference between feature parity and database compatibility. So feature parity is something that will scan through your entire server to find out what all features are there which will not be compatible on your target server or target database, right? And your compatibility is just that it will check your particular database, like what all codes are not compatible with your target database, and it will give you the complete list of that. And along with it will give you even the remediation, that how you can fix it. So let's click on next. It will ask you for server name. Okay, so because I had already provided, so it is coming in drop down. If you will do it for the first time, it will be blank. You need to enter it manually, and then you can select Windows Authentication, SQL Server Authentication, whatever is the option for you. So I can go with Windows Authentication. I'll select these two options, Encrypt Connection and Trust Server Certificate, and click on Connect. Once you click on Connect, it will show you the databases which are available on your source server. So I'll select only this, add, and then you can start assessment. It will take a few minutes. Yeah. So I have this assessment ready. Now if you see, first itself it is showing unsupported features. First one is SQL Server agent jobs. So SQL Server agent jobs are not at all compatible on Azure SQL database. So in case if there is a need or there is a requirement that you need to have Azure SQL database, then it's better you don't go with Azure SQL database option. Like if you need to have a SQL agent, then it's better you don't go with Azure SQL database. But if you have some alternate option in mind, then you can go ahead with that. Another one is Azure SQL database does not support trace flags. So this also you have to keep in mind. So in case if you are using trace flags anywhere, now trace flags you will not be able to access on Azure SQL database. Third one is Azure SQL database does not support analysis services. But along with the issue, it is telling you even the solution that if SSAS is not supported, you can go ahead with Azure Analysis Services. Okay, so it will tell you the option. So if you are okay with that solution, which is being recommended by this tool, you can go ahead with this. Same thing, reporting services not supported in Azure SQL database, right? So for this, they recommend you to either move to Power BI, or you can install reporting services on any Azure virtual machine. Okay, so these are the options. So you see, it will tell you what all features are not supported, and then there are certain things called partially supported features, like server scope credentials not supported, convert to database credentials, and then transactional replication to Azure SQL database subscriber is supported. So this thing you see that transactional replication to Azure database subscriber is supported, but Azure SQL database cannot be a publisher in transactional replication case. So if you already know transactional replication, definitely you will be aware of publisher and subscriber. If you don't know, I'll upload another video regarding this, then you can go through that video. So okay, so this is about feature parity. Okay, what will be supported? So as I told you, it will scan through the entire server to find out what all features are supported or not supported. And then compatibility issue, because this was adventure works, so almost everything is compatible. So that's what it's saying, there is no compatibility issue with your database. But in case if you have cross database query, or in case if you have any linked services or anything, then it will show you what all blocking issues are there, or what all breaking changes are there. So if there are any breaking changes, you can go ahead and make those changes before moving to migrate. So that's it. So this is your discovery and assessment. So once you are done with this, then you will go to next phase, which is migration. Now, before jumping to that, there is one more thing that I want to highlight. Now, suppose you know that Azure SQL database is compatible with your existing on-premise SQL workload. But do you know which particular tier you have to choose, right? So if you are familiar with Azure SQL database, then you will know which particular tier will be okay for your workload. If not, then there is another option provided by Microsoft in their documentation that you can go for. So let me close these links and come to this one. And I'll share these links in my video. So I'll try to add these links in description of my video. Okay, so this link actually tells about a PowerShell script that you will run, and it will tell you what particular tier will be compatible for your database. Okay, so it will give you this kind of UI. So let me walk you through step by step on this process as well. So there are certain prerequisites. First prerequisite is download and install the latest version of DMA. DMA is nothing but Data Migration Assistant tool. If you already have earlier version of the tool, open it and you will be prompted to upgrade DMA. So if you are using the earlier version of DMA, you need to upgrade it. And the reason I will tell you later in a bit. Ensure that computer has PowerShell version 5.1. So you will have PowerShell, but you need to make sure that you are running the correct version. Okay, so I'll show you how you can find out whether what version of PowerShell you are running in. Ensure that your computer has a Azure PowerShell module installed. This is important. If you don't have Azure PowerShell module installed, you will not be able to run this PowerShell script which is being provided by Microsoft. Now, fourth one is verify that PowerShell file is available to collect performance counters. Okay. Now first check how you can install PowerShell module on your machine. So click on this link and it will take you to this link which will ask you to check the PS version first of all. So you can go to your PowerShell, click on this, or I can run it directly here, and Okay, it will tell you this is 5.1. Okay, so my prerequisite, which was mentioned here, 5.1, this is done. First one was DMA. I already have DMA installed, so no problem. And then next one is, it is talking about .NET framework. So .NET framework should be installed on this particular machine, which is your source. If in your client machine .NET framework is not installed, make sure they run .NET framework, they install .NET framework for like 4.7.2 or later version. Okay. Next one is this. You need to run this command and it will install AZ module, which is Azure PowerShell module on the machine. So I'll copy it, and I already have this command here. So let me go to this. Yeah. So sorry. Let me paste it here. So this is the command. If you run this command, your Azure module will be installed. But remember one thing, sometimes when you try to run this command on a new virtual machine, because this was a new virtual machine, I got into one error which was related to TLS, transport layer security. To get rid of that error, you need to run this command first. Okay. So step-by-step process, let me walk you through once again. First thing, sorry. Yeah. So first thing, you need to check your PS version. If it is 5.1, good. Second one, you need to install Azure PowerShell module. Okay, and for that, in case if you get any error while installing this, then you need to run this command, which will enable TLS 1.2, and after that you will be able to install Azure module in your PowerShell. Once you are done with this, then you will come to this command. And let me go back to this screen first. This one, come here, and this is the command. So I again came back to this particular site, which is identify the right Azure SQL database SKU. So in this you will find this command. I'm using the same command, but I just took it in one line instead of keeping it in separate lines. And instead of keeping D drive here, I have kept F drive. So let me go there. And you see this is the one. Okay, it will ask you for the computer name. You know how to get the computer name here. You can go to any folder, right click, go to properties, and you will get your computer name here. So provide a computer name. Next one is output file path. So I'm using F drive, and any file name you can give. Third one is collection time in seconds. So I've given 2400 seconds. You can choose to give any time. You can run it for one entire day, or you can run it for half an hour based on the requirement. And then it will ask you for DB connection string for your source. Okay, once you run this command, then it will generate one file called this one, counters2.csv, that we have provided here. Okay. Now once you have this file, next you need to run another PowerShell script. Again go down and you will find another script. So you can run any of this script. So I have taken this example. So let's go to another one. So this is the same PowerShell script which you see here in this window. Okay, only difference is I again brought it up in one line, and instead of C drive I have used F drive. And along with that, you need to create one test out folder. Inside that, this will be empty when you create, but you need to have this folder test out before running that PowerShell script. So once you have that, you can go back to your PowerShell command and you can run it. So I have already run it for saving some time, and it will give you these particular files. And then if you have decided based on your assessment that whether you want to go with Azure SQL database or managed instance, you can click on the HTML file, whichever is suitable for you. So in this particular case, I have decided to go with SQL database. So I'll click on this and it will take me to this particular page. And it is telling me which particular tier I should be going with, standard S0, which is going to cost me around $15 per month. But let's go back to this one and check, what if I want to go to managed instance? Then how much will it cost me? So you see, if you want to go for the same workload to managed instance, it is asking you to go for Gen 5 8 cores, and it is going to cost you $1,591.59. So you see that choosing correct deployment model is so important. If you choose the wrong one, then instead of spending just $15 per month, you will be spending like almost $1,600 per month. So this is very important before you go to migration path. Okay. So this is our like pre-migration phase, and we are done with this. And next one is migration phase. Okay. So let's begin with migration topic. But before going there, I missed one part. So let me go back to that. And I forgot to mention this particular prerequisite. So this particular prerequisite is saying verify that the PowerShell file SKU recommendation data collection script.ps1, which is required to collect performance counters, is installed in the DMA folder. Okay, and this one is important to run the below command, because this command is this particular script is referring to this particular PowerShell file. So whenever you install DMA on your machine, this particular file comes automatically in the DMA folder. That's why in the previous requisite, it is asking you, even though you have previous version of DMA, you update it, you upgrade it. Once you upgrade it, you will find this PowerShell file in the folder. So let me go back here to C drive, program files, and I have Microsoft Data Migration Assistant tool. And here you just search for .ps1, and you will find this file is available. Now remember this, if this file is not available, it means you have not done your DMA installation properly. And if you don't have this file, you will not be able to proceed further to run this PowerShell script to find out which will be the best SKU on Azure SQL database or managed instance for you. Okay, so don't forget about these prerequisites. You need to have DMA, you need to have this PowerShell file in the DMA folder, and then you need to have Azure module installed on your machine, and then you will be able to run this command. Once you run this command, you will get a file called counters2.csv in the prescribed in the given location, and using that means that will become input for you in the next command, which is this. Okay, so that will be the input for this command when you run, and in this you can define any path. You don't have to go with C drive only, you can go with F drive, D drive, whatever you want. You can choose any file name as per your wish. Okay, and then you will find the HTML file created for you. And once you have the HTML file created, you can click on this. You can go to that HTML file. Whether if you want to go with SQL database, you can go to SQL database HTML file. If you want to go with managed instance, you can go to MI HTML file, and it will tell you exactly which particular tier you should go for. Okay, so that's it. Once it is done, then you can directly go to your Azure portal. After this, actually, you can go to Azure portal to create that database. But in our case, we already ran the template, so we already have that database created. But in real life environment or real life situation, after running these operations, you are going to create Azure SQL database or managed instance as per the requirement on your Azure subscription. Okay, right now I already have. So let me take you to that SQL server. Okay, so this is the target SQL server which was already created by Azure portal, or that template that we used. Okay, so this is the one. You see here, and this is the database name which was already created. This is the one. Okay, so because I already have it, I don't need to create Azure SQL database once again. Next, once you have that, then you will go to create database migration services. And because I already have database migration services, I am not going to create. Then you can go to create new migration project. Okay, let's give it DMS 01. Okay, and this is very interesting thing, that you can provide source server type here, and it will tell you the target server type will be auto populated based on the compatibility. So for example, if I'm selecting SQL Server, my target server database is Azure SQL Virtual Machine, SQL Database Managed Instance, Azure SQL Database. Suppose I change it to MongoDB. You see automatically it will change to Cosmos DB for MongoDB API. If I change it to suppose PostgreSQL, automatically the target will change to Azure Database for PostgreSQL. Okay. Now, one more thing I wanted to talk about. If you see, the online migration feature requires premium SKU when you create service. So when we use this template to deploy the services, it has created general SKU. It did not choose the premium one. So if you don't have a premium one, you cannot go to online data migration. So in this case, we will go with offline data migration. So this one is for Postgre. Let's go to SQL Server. And in this case, we will go with offline data migration. So save it and then create and run activity. Okay. Now it will ask you for source database. So let's go to our source database. I copied it. I'll paste it here. I'll go with maybe SQL authentication, username and password. This is the same username and password that you will provide while deploying the template. I will select these things, click on save. Sometimes it takes a couple of minutes. So what happens, every step it will try to go and validate like whatever credentials you are providing is correct or not. Okay, that's why sometimes it takes some time. And then you will provide target server name. So this is my target server name. I'll copy and paste it here. Again, SQL authentication. So this also you provide when you deploy the template. Okay, save it. And once again, it will try to validate that the credentials that you provide for connecting to the target database. Now, map to target database. Okay, this is my source. In my target database, I already had created this for this demo purpose, and this is already up to date. But this database is empty. So I'll select this one, select this, and save. Next, it will take you to mapping page for all the objects. Yeah. So if you expand this, you will see all the names, like all the objects. There are some objects which target table does not have or does not exist, so it will skip those things. So you don't have to select all the tables. Even suppose you want to select maybe just 5 tables out of this, you can select. So this is a very good feature that it allows you to select particular tables, like particular objects. You don't have to go for all the objects. Done. Activity name, maybe I'll give demo activity 01. And before running migration, I want to show this database that this database is empty right now. Means tables are there, but there is no data. If you see dim currency, if you see dim organization, okay, everything is empty right now. So let's go to this and run migration. Now remember this, we are using this one offline migration mode. So the moment I started running this, your application downtime has started. Okay, now you see the status has changed to running. Okay, 6 of 30 tables completed. You keep refreshing, it will take some time. Okay, we'll see if any of these tables are ready. Yeah, so dim organization table is populated now. So you see this. Let's see dim currency. Okay, dim currency is also populated now. 29 of 30 tables completed. Done. So you see the status is completed. And after this status is completed, you can go for cutover. So basically you can change the connection from your source to target database, and that's it. You are good to go. But now there is a difference between this offline migration and online migration. So as I already told you, that in online migration, the downtime starts when you go for cutover. So the UI also will be a little bit different. Let me try to show that. Actually takes long time to create, but you can try to play around with that. So in online migration, it will ask you to select source, target, everything, and then it will go through the same process. It will show you whether the migration completed or no. And then after migration is completed, it will show you one button here. Let me come here. There will be one button here called cutover. So when you click on that cutover button, it will show you if there are any pending changes. Pending changes in the sense, like if suppose after doing this migration, somebody made any change in the source database. So that is not yet in sync with the target database. So it will show you the pending changes 1 or 2 or 10, whatever. Right? So you have to wait for it to become 0. Okay. So once it becomes 0, then you can click on cutover. Once you click on cutover, done. That is the only extra step that you performed in case of online migration. That's it. After that, you just have to change the application and you are good to go. Okay. So this is all about migration process, and this is all about bringing SQL Server, right? But there are other tools also like SSMA, SQL Server Migration Assistant tool. So using that, you can migrate Oracle database to SQL or DB2 database to SQL. That works exactly the same way like DMA tool. This one that you saw, it works exactly like this. It will give you the exact like compatibility issues and the code. Like it will generate the report to tell you like which all objects passed and which all objects failed. So based on that, you can make the changes. DMA is for all type of SQL Server like on-premise, and after that you can use DMS service, database migration services on Azure. And after using that, once you are done this, you can go and stop service. Once you stop service, you will stop being, you will not be charged for this service anymore. Okay. And there is one more thing. Let me just bring one URL in front of you. That URL is very helpful in case if you want to um, migrate any other database. Give me 1 second. So this is one kind of website created by Microsoft where you see all the source and destination defined. Right. So if you just go like hover on any link like SQL Server, it will tell you what all compatibilities are there, like where all you can do. You can migrate this particular workload to. So if you select SQL Server, it will show you SQL Database, Managed Instance on Azure VMs, SQL Data Warehouse, SQL Server, upgrade means you can upgrade it to any latest version. If you go to Oracle, it will tell you you can migrate it to SQL Database, PostgreSQL, SQL Data Warehouse, SQL Server. Okay, but the for this particular case, the most compatible one is PostgreSQL because the languages are similar. For DB2, again, it will suggest to go to SQL Database or SQL Server. And not only that, if you click on any of this, it will walk you through step-by-step process. So for example, I suppose click on, suppose I click on this, Oracle to PostgreSQL. So you see it will take you to this page and step-by-step process. Like before you start, you can perform all the operations that it is asking you to, like prerequisites and everything. So normally in this case, they use Aura to PG. There is one tool that you can install for Oracle to PostgreSQL. Then you go to pre-migration where you can go for discovery and assessment. Similar way, but the method is different because this is Oracle to PostgreSQL, right? Then you can go for migration, data sync and cutover, and then post migration. Okay, so this is for uh, Oracle to PostgreSQL. Let's check for SQL Server. Same thing that we implemented just now. So it is asking you to go for, yeah, these things are supported. You can migrate SQL Server running on premises or on virtual machine, AWS, GCP, AWS RDS. Okay. The following data migration options are discussed. One is DMS, Data Migration Services, Data Migration Assistant, Transactional Replication, Bulk Load. Okay. and then you go to pre-migration, discover and assessment. It will ask you to go to data migration assistant tool. So same thing that we performed just now. So this is a very important or very helpful website. You can use this for any migration. Okay. So this is what I wanted to cover today, and yeah, we have completed the entire session well ahead of time today. Thank you very much once again, and have a great day. Thank you.